All right, now that you're a master of drawing the controlled line from one point to another in a given direction, in a given distance, it's time to master how to draw a square. Because I always say if you can draw a square, you can draw anything. And the square forms the basis of many of our very important proportions. So as we know, a square is equal on all sides. So we can draw one proportion here, which means that the rest of these proportions are going to be equal. So I do this as a matter of practice. If I'm ever in a meeting, which I find not too entertaining, or anything along those lines, I find myself drawing squares because it's a matter of building up our eye as well. So let's just test that out to see how close that is to a square. One way of doing it is turning it around and getting a sense of if it is actually even on all sides. You can test it by just using a simple piece of paper as well. Let's just see if we've said that it's one length here. And you know what? We're pretty darn close on that. So I'm going to live with that. I'm going to live with that square. If you find that there needs to be longer, just extend it. Just make it what it needs to be. The other thing about a square is that it has 90-degree corners. So another little trick to just testing to see if your square is a square. And whatever correction that you need to make, be sure to do so. So we have achieved a nice little square here. It's 90 degrees on all the corners and all of these sides are equal. Because it's from this square that I can make 4 smaller squares if I have to, like so. Just using the diagonal line and continuing to divide that up. And now I have broken up that square into 4 equal squares, like so. And now that I've done that, I can create a diamond shape if I wanted to, going from diagonal to diagonal. And this diamond shape, as we know, is just a square that's been rotated 45 degrees. Another useful tool for this is being able to draw circles. Now you know how to draw a perfect circle if you have the ability to draw a nice perfect square, and that is by drawing quarter turns. And these lovely arcs that are quarter turns, another fantastic thing to practice, to master your circles, like so. So once you've got this mastered, you can pretty much go for any other shape you want. I can see a triangle in here, a lovely 45-degree triangle inside of that square. And you can see my drawing technique still remains the same, where I'm turning my paper to make sure that I get a nice straight line. Here's another lovely diagonal I can achieve here. And this creates another triangle. So once you have the ability to draw to specific points, so as we had from here, we went from here to here, and then from here, you can create squares. Honestly and truly, you can start to draw anything. And from this, it's really, really interesting to see and to take a look at things in architecture or in nature that really start with a square. So give that a practice. Now, let's just say I want to expand this square. Right now, in a sense, I have 2 squares and 2 squares here. So 2 squares in this direction and 2 squares in that direction. What if I want to make it 3 squares? So a 2 to 3 proportion. Very, very simply, this is what I do. I just extend this line here. And I'm going to extend that line here as well, very lightly. And then what I'm going to do is continue this diagonal that I drew, and I'm going to continue it all the way up. So following that line, I just take it all the way up to that point there, and that is a natural division, a natural extension of that square into a rectangle that is now 2 units high by 3 units long. Very, very natural. So this is how we can achieve these wonderful proportions of 2 to 3. We could also go 3, and now we can go make this a 3 to 4 proportion, so a 3/4 proportion. In this case, what I'm going to do is continue that technique of continuing that diagonal there. Trick here is just making sure that you follow through with that onto that nice straight line, and you've got, that's now a 3 to 3 square. And I have to admit, this is kind of losing its square property. So if that's the case, start to make your adjustments, and then you can always work back. So let's call that a 3 to 3 square. And then one more time, just taking that diagonal through there, down to that line there. And now this is 3, and we have 4 more squares, like so. All right, you're going to be a master if you continue to practice that.